So you just started Dark Souls. Up some stairs, meet a dead guy, and you fight the Asylum Demon. Start to think, hey, this guy's cheeks. I thought Dark Souls was supposed to be hard. Oh, you sweet summer child. You finish beating the Asylum Demon's ass and you start leaving. Walk up to this cliff and this big bird starts getting all up in your grill and he takes you to the Firelink Shrine. You can level up in Firelink. Start running around the area and you kill a few enemies, and then you meet this guy who starts fucking talking about the sun. I love this guy! So you're making your way through Undead Burg, which the only notable thing is that there's a bunch of ganks in there. So you start walking up these stairs, some dude throws down a barrel, which you obviously don't get hit by, and you start fighting the Taurus Demon. These archer guys suck, you should kill them. I'm gonna tell you a little secret. This boss is easy! You have the master or the residence key, you can open up that one door and get the lightning stuff, and you can fight him super easy peasy because he's super weak to that stuff for some reason. I wouldn't imagine this guy in a thunderstorm. Anyway, he goes down like a piece of cake. So you run out to this bridge area where you can farm souls, but there's also a bonfire if you're fast enough. Oh, no! No! Okay, I made it. Now, you the player have a decision. Do you go fight the Bell Gargoyles, or do you go fight this piece of shit? You know a boss is bad when the boss itself is not the problem, but the two fucking dogs that are next to him.
Oh, but Noodle, in the lore, he can talk to dogs and stuff.
Do you think I care about the lore right now? When I see that fog gate, I think it should say, beware, terrible boss ahead. I'll give it credit. I think the design is really cool, and I think that adding to the lore is pretty neat too. But it's really the arena that brings this whole thing down by like 8 points. In my first playthrough, like 80% of the time when fighting this boss, I would get locked up into a corner and get completely mangled by 2 dogs. So how would I personally fix this fight? Ultimately, I think you should keep the staircase idea because that's pretty neat because you can do the plunging attack on him, which you've been taught by the 2 other bosses. But making the arena bigger and maybe adding another dog to compensate would be good, in my opinion. Number 2. Ceaseless Discharge reminds me of my sex life. Sad and boring. First of all, I'm going to say what Ceaseless Discharge does right. He has a really sad story about looking at his sister's clothes or something. Apparently she died. This might be wrong, I'm not checking. And he has a really, really cool design. He even rips his own arm out of his torso to fight you, which I find very commendable. So, I think there's only one correct way to beat Ceaseless Discharge. And that's having him follow you until he puts his hand in a little crevice and you punch it a few times and he falls to his death. Pussy! So, what would I do to fix this fight? Honestly, I don't really have any complaints. Like, the only reason I think it's a bad boss is because it's kind of boring. Like, because I optionally choose not to engage the boss. But I don't think that necessarily makes it a bad boss. It's definitely memorable. Like, in my first playthrough, when I learned that you could do that, my mind was blown. It's really one of the things that I enjoy about Dark Souls. Secret areas and like things that you don't notice the first time. That is really what makes Dark Souls, and this is definitely one of those moments. So, it's nowhere near a Capra Demon, but I feel like there's so much missed potential in this boss fight. Like, it doesn't feel like a boss, it feels like a gimmick, if you know what I'm saying. Number 3. This boss makes me want to kill myself. You know what I love about Dark Souls? It's not the combat, it's not the characters, it's the platforming. You know why I love the platforming in Dark Souls? Because it doesn't work half the time. The best part, you're fighting a raisin. A raisin! Oh, and this is a mandatory boss fight because it's the Lord Soul. It's one of the 4 that you have to get to complete the fucking game. So the way this boss fight works is that it's in 3 phases. So you either hit the left or the right of the boss, which has like these glowing orb things, and you just hit him with your sword once. Then, as the arena is collapsing, you try to get to the other side to hit the other orb. And after you finally do that, you have to go to the middle, which is now a huge gaping hole, where if you fall in, you die immediately. So you have to somehow get onto this very tiny ledge in the middle, which you can very easily misjump and fall off and die and have to restart it. Then you physically murder the Lorax's dreams, and then you kill the little raisin in the middle. So what's missing in this boss fight? Nothing you do in this boss fight relies on skill. A dog who eats grass and shit could make a better boss fight. So, how do we fix the Bed of Chaos fight? First of all, take it out of the game. Nobody wants it. Put an actual boss fight there. Alright, that's not good enough. Here's what you should do. I think the boss starting out not doing anything is a pretty decent surprise. Besides the first orb, I think there should be other ways to attack the boss. Maybe give it some more moves that aren't just kind of pushing you into holes. Lastly, you shouldn't have to try and maneuver yourself to get onto that very, very tiny branch to go and kill the raisin. Thank you all for watching my video. If you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. Love you guys. Bye.